What's up? I'm Dan Fredenberg, and this is another Chance Encounter.
Hey, what's up? I'm Dan Fredenberg. I'm a commercial real estate guy. I'm from the internet. Power lines that are just kind of close. What's up again? This is Dan Fredenberg.
Today, I'm joined by Lauren Cadillac. How are you doing today, Lauren?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for asking.
Excellent, excellent. So this show here, these Chance Encounters, the story is we very quickly meet with real estate investors. We find out their motivation for their next commercial deal, and then we talk about the role that they play in a co-GP sort of situation. But Lauren, you're also an attorney. Could you please introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Lauren Cadillac, and I am an attorney. I'm licensed in the state of Texas, or the Republic of Texas, if you will. I practice real estate, probate, estate planning. I'm also working on my LLM in taxation, so do IRS and tax and really tax avoidance. In Texas, we're allowed to protest the value that the government assesses for our property, so that we can protest what the value is what they tax us based off of. So we can protest those. That is a big part of my business as well. Because of all of that, I have just become a real estate investor, mainly because I know how expensive it is to get old in America, and I do plan on being very old. So I need money to support that. So on the side, I invest in real estate, and I'm looking to expand that aspect of my life.
Awesome, awesome. And we've already got some of your motivations. So, but I've got the motivations for owning a part of a commercial real estate property. I've got them down to 5. And so here's my little presentation for that. I've got the 6 roles that are on my die. I'll get there in a moment. But I found that most beginners, they don't really know what role they'd have in a commercial property deal. So this one here should at least find their motivation, because at least people will know that. So the first one is to preserve purchasing power. So if you're running a family office or something like that, where you're making all of the income not from any kind of work or labor, but from just putting those assets to work, that's preserving your purchasing power. The next reason is my one, which is that I have the option, just like you do, as an attorney, you have the ability to make a lot of income. But if you want to invest that, then you have to go through that intermediate step of paying income tax. Whereas if you actually co-GP, then you're getting compensated for your work by in the form of wealth, which has that advantageous tax status. The next reason is because you're looking to fast track your retirement. That one's pretty straightforward. In general, if you say that your motivation is fast tracking your retirement, that means you've already had some sort of start on making that happen. So you're not working from zero. So you can take some limited partner positions or something like that, even if you don't want to just co-GP immediately. And the next one is for the super duper ambitious people who just want to buy their entire hometown. I also sometimes say that they have a little itty bitty, but you never really know, right? So with those guys, they're still valuable on a co-GP situation, just because that they'll keep on working after they become an accredited investor. And
why just stop at the hometown though?
Yeah, that's
my son asked me once, he said, Mom, why do you just want to take over America? Why not the whole world?
Right. Pinky in the brain sort of thing. Right?
There you go.
All right. But the last motivation is because there's some section of society that you want to help, or maybe it's animals or something like that. And so you want to earn and earn and earn, or accumulate wealth so that you can make an impact for some sector of society. So those are the 5 motivations that I've found. And which of those resonate with you the most?
Well, obviously taking over the world. And then for me, it is about passive income.
Mhm.
I am an attorney, so I bill hourly, right? But I have also had the experience of being in a coma before. I was in a 4-day coma after a car accident, which ended up sending me to law school. I mean, it gave me the inspiration to go to law school. But I'm acutely aware of the fact that if my brain isn't working or I'm not physically working, I'm not making money. And that bugs me to no end, right? I need to secure, I have kids, I have to pay for my children, and I need to pay for my own life. And there are going to be times in everyone's life where they can't work. And I need to be prepared for that.
That makes a lot of sense. And me, like I've got incredibly soft hands because, every single job that I've had, it's like tapping at the keyboards or whatever. So that's one of the things that I had to be, really careful about, is saying like, okay, well, the limitations on what I actually need to make money, they're pretty low in the big scheme of things. But voice recognition software, that is really, really key if you're talking about like, if you become a quadriplegic, for example, and you'd still be able to do your things necessary like that. So I just want to throw that out there for anybody. It's like, if you at least get a feel for what a voice activated software, how it works, then you're basically got money in the bank in case you have any of those sorts of physical problems. So
if you have your voice, if you're in a coma, you're not doing shit. So
yeah, that's right.
Software
Then
can help. Sorry, pardon my language.
No. Oh yeah, I got the beeper thing, but yeah.
I know I don't have the beeper.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's somebody was asking me that in Texas the other day. They're saying, so what are you doing? Since you're full time in real estate, what are you doing for health insurance? And I had to tell them, it's like, well, what I did is I got born in Canada.
I was just gonna say you live in Canada, so that's what you did.
Yeah. So I know that I'll be taken care of, so to speak, if I'm in a coma. But it's health problems are by far the worst kinds of problems.
Absolutely. So, especially in the United States, because we don't believe in helping each other. So
yeah. Speaking of which, let's move on to our next segment, which is very, very focused on capitalism, which is the different roles in an apartment complex deal. Now, I've got this crazy green screen thing going on here. That's just
I love that, actually. That is so cool.
Yeah, you can see my photo of Taipei through it. That's in my back.
It looks like it's a clear dye. I love it.
Right. So okay, yeah, the glare's not too bad. So anyway, the way I explain a commercial deal is I say the different roles. I start with repositioner because that's where I sit in the big scheme of things. So a repositioner has to do some underwriting, and they have to be looking at a bunch of different deals to figure out which ones actually have upside. What are they actually going to do to make more money? And keeping in mind that I like to say that real estate is the world's second oldest profession. So it's very mature. Everybody, it's not like computers and technology and all that sort of stuff. So like making a property make more money is not as easy as it sounds. One of the easiest ways to do it, though, is through more efficient operations. I'm a computer tech guy, so that part is part of my forte. But you can see the Benjamins going down the toilet there too. And that's because, water efficiency, unclogging toilets, that's all part of day-to-day operations. So if you are efficient, sure, then, that can increase the value of the property. But the more straightforward way of making the property make more money is to get a contractor, make the place nicer so you can charge more in rent. So if you've got those together and you're like me and you're from the internet, there's one other thing that you're really going to need, which is boots on the ground. You're going to need a local, somebody who can be there in an hour or two, because I'm not flying down there every single time there's a clogged toilet or something like that. And also anything that operations or the contractor sends you could be spoofed, right? They could just be taking a bunch of photos of the same unit and pretending that they're other ones. Or
yeah, I didn't even think of that. I like how your mind works in the, like, you'd be a good cop. Well, not a cop. You would be a good cop. You'd be a good detective.
They wouldn't let me in from what I heard.
Really?
They actually have, they have IQ limits for cops.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I'd have to flunk the IQ test. I'd actually have to throw it on purpose if I wanted to be a cop, apparently. But
Yeah.
Yeah. But it doesn't really suit me that well.
How about
But
FBI agent? That maybe that's a little CIA or FBI, a little more glamorous. They might accept you.
oh, there you go. That sounds good. But those are the four for more or less day-to-day stuff. And once you have the deal in hand, you turn around to the financier, in other words, the bank, and you say, hey, I need a whole whack of money so I can buy this building. And the thing that they're going to say that's going to be a big fat surprise to most newbies is, who's your sponsor? And they'll be like, well, who's your what? And that's somebody who already owns a similar asset and between the GP team, you have to have the net worth equal to or greater than the value of the loan. But even if Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk wants to buy a 450 unit apartment complex, if he wants to get a loan, he has to have somebody in the fold who already owns and runs a similar asset. And so those are the 6 roles in a commercial deal. And what do you think you have as far as core competencies that you could contribute to in these different roles? I was mentioning before that because you're an attorney, maybe you can help out with some operations and legal side, but
I was just going to say, where does the professional jerk go? I think operations, right? Yeah.
Like evicting people, that'd be part of it.
I mean, I can write a contract, I can negotiate a contract, I can evict people, I can defend them from eviction, I can do all of those things. I cannot do sheetrock. I cannot measure to save my life. So I think I'm pretty much stuck in an operations role. I don't think there's much option really physically for me elsewise. But operations wise, I mean, someone like me, because I'm earning this degree in taxation, so I have this background, I can come in and go, okay, how do we GPs want to structure this? Should we own an offshore company that has a treaty so that these dividends won't be taxed? How can we set this up? And then if we decide, yeah, offshore is the way we want to go, I can go work with their counsel to establish an appropriate, and then do we do GPs? There's a lot of in the US, we have pass-through entities like LLCs. Those translate differently in different countries, right? Some countries have a version of LLC, but some don't. And so how does that translate? How would we want to do ownership? So operations wise, it would be someone like me would be much more pre-game, I guess you could say, right? How are we going to structure a deal and ownership such that all of the owners in the deal are having the least amount of taxes and the most amount of gain.
That's really awesome.
It is.
So the next part that I usually ask is I say, without breaking any SEC rules. So the specific one is you can't entice investors. That's a big fat no-no. Can you use, the more you use the sides of the die to describe the different roles, you get bonus points for that. But I get people to describe the perfect person in real estate that they can help more than anybody else. So would you be looking for repositioners? Would you be looking for, contractors? Who can you help more than anybody else for real estate?
So in my practice, I currently work with a ton of contractors. And I have an MBA also. So we do bookkeeping and, one of my favorite clients is a plumber and one of my other favorite clients is an electrician, right? And because we're all tradespeople, lawyer is just a trade, right? So we're tradespeople, we're running businesses. So certainly I can help those folks, but who I really like helping is those folks who decide to then become an investor and have me help them structure a deal, right? So before we went on the record, we were talking about having an LLC for each property. And I said, no, I like series LLCs because you create one LLC and then you get the series and they're treated like their own LLCs, but it's a lot less expensive and all of these things. So that's the kind of stuff I can do everything. What I love to do is kind of structure the deal such that there could be tax avoidance. And a place that I want to do more is in places where you can protest the value. Like in Texas, like I said, we can protest a value. That's super important because a tax rate of 2.5%, which is what we're paying here, is astronomical. On $1 million, if I can get that value down to $500,000, that's half the tax burden I just released you from, right? And so I have folks that I work on that with, and I would like to build more folks to do that for. And then in turn, that's just going to help me meet GPs and, you know, people who want to invest, and that can so structure more deals. Kind of circular.
Well, let me feedback some of that to you as far as what's coming to my mind. It all goes back to I've spoken to a few different attorneys, and they've been making the case for not just downloading something off of the internet and trusting that. And what I've been looking for is, and I think I got my finger on it, what exactly is it that the attorney brings to it? And it's massive. It's massive, 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 massive. But I want to categorize where those things are, like, and so I know part of it is structuring it so that your investors are happier with it, but it's also from what I can see, like people say that so much of the actual like PSA, for example, is very specific to that particular property, and things like you know, who's paying to fix this, who gets this money after this date, who gets, you know, like all these little itty bitty particulars, and negotiating that part. That I think that's the biggest reason that I can think of why you want your attorney, or somebody who's a licensed attorney anyway, maybe as a GP, you want them involved as early as possible. Is that a good description? You have more to add to that?
Yeah, totally. And I do have more to add. So my experience, at least in Texas, has been that apartment management, you know, like when they work down, they like to play lawyer. Okay. And when non-lawyers play lawyer, you get your business in trouble. So having a lawyer to train those people, like boots on the ground, don't you dare say X, Y, Z. And then if you do, I've trained you, you've signed off on the training, now I have all this stuff. So when someone comes to sue me, I go, nope, that wasn't, you know, I told them not to do that. That's outside. But see, you can't think of that without a lawyer, right? The reason I know that is because I am familiar with all the crazy stuff people could sue on, and all of the issues, you know, that people, not all of the issues, but many of the issues that people run into. And so but you got to find the right kind of lawyer, Dan, because I have found out here, there are a lot of folks who they leave law school and they start working on one thing, and that's then all they know. And so I've had clients come to me who had settlements in different areas with a different attorney, and that attorney didn't think of the tax consequences, and now they owe the IRS a ton of money. So you have, yeah, exactly. You have to make sure that that attorney is well-rounded. That's part of the reason I'm doing my LLM in taxation, is because I have people like want to gift property to their kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool, except that your kid's about to get, you know, a $200,000-$300,000 gift, and they're gonna have to pay income tax on that. So I'm gonna find a way around the income tax, you know, the CYA, so to speak, and that's why you pay a lawyer, right? Or you've already uncovered your ass and now you're in trouble, and now you got to pay the lawyer to undo it, right? I like to do preventative work personally.
Right. And another thing that I've learned from hanging out with more attorneys is to look for the fact, like, you have your MBA, and one complaint I get from attorneys about attorneys is that some attorneys, they're just too cautious, and it makes it impossible to actually do business. It's like, oh, well, you know, there's a little itty bitty chance that this particular thing might happen, and it'll put it out of the business. We should walk away from the negotiation. Whereas somebody who has good business sense is like, no, hold the phone. You know?
Right. Well, and it's, so there is that aspect. Also, I became a lawyer because I like loopholes. Like, I am most comfortable I my partner described me recently as having like a punk rock background. I don't like punk rock. I can't stand screaming. I had a really rough childhood. I do not like yelling. Like that kind of music does not appeal to me. But the attitude does, right? And so I have always had a punk rock attitude. And my idea is like, let me read all the rules and then figure out how I can use them to not follow them. And that's the kind of lawyer you got to find. And a lot of lawyers aren't like that. And a lot of CPAs, I can't find a CPA to save my life because they're all like, this is the rule. This is the rule. I'm like, what about the unwritten part, right? What about the interpretation, the this, the that? They don't see it that way. So you have to find the lawyer that's right for you. Like you and I are cool with find the loophole and hang out there, right? But some people are not. Some people that makes them very uncomfortable, and that's okay. There are lawyers out there who can help those type of people as well. I personally like taking calculated risks. Like my whole life has just been a series of calculated risks, right? And so to me, that's a no-brainer. As long as I have an argument or a defense to get out of something, I don't mind getting into it. But if you don't have that type of style, right? If the group that comes together is more conservative, they don't want to argue loopholes, whatever, that's fine. Just find an attorney that is kind of like the ones that you've met, that's, you know, a little more staunchy or whatever it may be.
Yeah, it's funny. What you just reminded me of is the Nicolas Cage movie Lord of War, when he was talking to his brother, and you know, he was saying like, yeah, we're not making enough money. We need to, you know, we need to make more money. And the brother says, so you think we should go more legal? He says, no, we should go more illegal. Right? And you know, and that was arms trading, right? And that actually brings
the
me.
movie War Dogs. Have you ever seen that one? That was also arms
No.
trading.
No.
Oh God, you have to see it. It has Jonah Hill, and it's based on a true story. These two 20-year-olds, like when the internet began, found the government's like procurement website and started taking just little crap that nobody else would take, and then they ended up in this like Ukrainian arms deal or whatever. But I love Jonah Hill's character. He's like what you just said. It's like, no, this is what's here, we're gonna try it, we're gonna do it. Now those guys are in prison, so I wouldn't do what they did, you know. I don't recommend that, but boy, I love that attitude.
right. That actually brings me to a project, and I'm actually I might even be coming into beta very soon with this. I've already got an alpha version. It's I'm calling it 506B Me, and one of the things about a 506B exemption is that you can only have people where you have a prior existing relationship with them, and so I'm going like, okay, well, how do we do that over the internet? You know, because. Yeah, well, I know how it's done, but I mean, how can you have it completely above board? And my biggest thing is that you can't have offers on the platform, because that would totally kill it. But if people are willing to share, you know, their level of sophistication and, you know, what they're interested in online, then that's a prior existing relationship, and we're good to go. So that's what
I was just gonna say. I mean, it's like any dating app, right? Like,
that's exactly it. Yeah.
Just get them to chat in the app a little, right? And now you have a prior existing relationship.
Yeah. Well, it's I'm looking to do an additional step though too, because I you know, that's what the format of this interview series is really doing. It's documenting that relationship, and you're giving your level of sophistication, and you're saying what you're comfortable with, and that's basically it. But I always promise to keep these short and sweet for the viewers. I'm sure that people are just like eating this stuff up. But the next question I always ask is, what's the best way to get a hold of you? We cross paths on LinkedIn. Is LinkedIn the best spot, or is there a website or something?
No. So I'm not like you, Dan. I don't like technology, just FYI. Okay. So I started doing LinkedIn. I don't know why. I was like, I'm going to be a LinkedIn influencer. This is a random goal. I mean, it is a good place to reach me, but I have a website. Obviously, I have a law firm, right? So it's Cadillac is spelled with one L. So it's not like the car. It's one L, Cadilac. And everything across all the platforms is Cadillac Law. So my website, we talked about series LLCs, and I have just a ton of information about real estate, estate planning, business, series LLCs, all that stuff at my YouTube, which is Cadillac Law. And all the handles, it's just Cadillac Law with one L. I, of course, have an office with a phone number and a wonderful, delightful staff who can take people's calls, and that is 972-845-1200. But I try to make myself available in anyways. Just don't call my personal number about business, okay? That drives me freaking crazy.
I definitely see that.
Yeah.
But next thing is for you in the audience out there. If you're on YouTube and you look somewhere down there, you'll see a red subscribe button that you should really click and make it gray, because that way YouTube pays for this stuff instead of me. And you can do the exact same thing on Lauren's channel as well. And just so I let you know what that actually does, it just means if you're ever in the YouTube app or on YouTube, our videos will be on your list of suggestions. But of course, you're still free to just ignore them as much as you want. So it's not really a whole lot of skin out of your back, which is why I don't feel so bad asking it like this. But please do that. And Lauren, thank you so much for joining me today. It has been absolutely fantastic.
Thank you for having me. And I want to add that it is free to hit subscribe. So if you could do that for Dan and I, that would be great. Thanks.
Exactly. 100% free. We'll just be on your list of suggestions. I'll try and make my thumbnails as interesting as possible so that they're not offensive or whatever. But anyways,
I love it.
Awesome. Thanks again.